Hello YouTubers, it's Savio here, and this is going to be the start of a level design series that I'm going to create. And there's going to be kind of multiple parts to this level design series, and I'm going to cover a few different tools that I like to use when I'm creating some levels and designing stuff, and then I'm also going to show you how to use some tools to make your life a little easier when designing levels. So if you watched my how to create a project video, this is the same project that I made, and I enabled some plugins, and I also enabled a couple things in the project or the editor preferences. So if you haven't watched that video, please go watch it. I don't want to go through that again. So yeah, just there's a couple things you'll need and a couple things that are optional. So once you have done that and you have a project open, feel free to. I'm just gonna make a new level. So if you just go File, New Level, it'll ask you what kind of level you want to make. I'm just going to go with a basic. Don't create an empty or an empty open world, as they won't have any lights or anything like that. It's kind of plain. But you'll get spawned into a basic level, and it'll have a floor. And we're just going to leave it as is for now. And first thing, let's just save our map. So if you go Control S, we can save our map, and they have a bunch of content that got imported when we made the project. I'm just gonna make a new folder and call it my content, but feel free to name it the name of your game or something like that, but make sure to create something thoughtful, because it will, once you get a big game, it will start to get pretty big, and you want to keep your files as organized as possible. I'm going to create a maps folder, and this is going to be for all my levels, and then I'm just going to save it in here and call it my test map. But feel free to call it like my scene or my map or my level or level 1, whatever you want to call your map, feel free to. And the rest of this video, I'm just going to cover kind of the things that I'm going to go over in this first part of the series, which is BSPs. And what BSPs are is they're just a quick way for you to prototype some levels. Now the difference between BSPs and just a model or a mesh is that they are a lot more expensive than a mesh that's been finalized. So if you go to your Place Actors tab, which it should be open by default. If it's not open by default, then you can just go to your Windows tab, and there's a Place Actors one. Just open that up, and it'll open up. And just find your Shapes tab, sorry, and just drag in a cube. So this is a static mesh, and we're gonna end up creating these out of our BSPs after, to make them a little more performant, or whatever you want, optimized, because BSPs are a bit different. And if you go to a few tabs over to the Geometry tab, you'll notice you also have boxes, cones, cylinders, stairs, spheres, and I'm just going to drag in a box, and it's a bit bigger, and this is 2 meters by 2 meters. So we have box BSPs, we have cone BSPs, we have cylinders, we have curved stairs that we can rotate. I can show you guys all these hotkeys later that I'm using. That'll probably be for the next video. I'm just gonna lay these all out. So we have spiral stairs as well. You don't have to do what I'm doing right here. I'm just kind of showing you what we're gonna cover. So there's a bunch of options that you can do with each of these to edit them and make them your own. I'm just going to show you on the cone because it's kind of the most simple one. I'm in the world settings tab, so just make sure you're in the details panel. And you'll notice that there's a bunch of settings for surface properties, and we can talk about those later as well. And there's brush settings, there's sides. We have aligned to sides, hollow, brush type. I can talk about this later. This is important. But we have the height, which is our z-axis. So in Unreal, the viewport always has a little gizmo at the bottom showing you which axis is facing which way. So Z is always up in Unreal. X is going currently left and right to us, and Y is now going left to right to us. It's kind of confusing, but you can also see it on the gizmo on your actor. So we're moving it on the Y-axis right now, X-axis, and Z-axis. Now, you can choose how many sides this has, which is important if you want to make a more circleized cone. And you can do this with the cylinders as well. So I can go like 32 sides. I wouldn't recommend going anything too crazy, like 32 to 64 with a... Once we assign a new material to it, you won't even notice the hard edges. And I will actually see if there's a way to soften the edges. But if not, that would be a thing I recommend doing in a modeling software afterwards, is you can take this into Maya, Blender, any modeling software, and you can just grab all these edges, and there should be a setting for softening your edges. And it'll take away that hard look. But I think this looks good enough. Once we assign a material on it, it should be fine, at least for prototyping. Because another thing is, I don't recommend using BSPs in a final product. Always replace them with a static mesh that someone has created in a modeling software somewhere. But that's it for this video. And the next video, I'm going to cover some hotkeys, and then we'll go over how to use these things. Thanks for watching.